Greetings and welcome to another edition of Fill Your Own Void, the podcast. Yes, it's Fill Your Own Void, the podcast, where we will be discussing topics that's near and dear to you and yours, as well as topics that's near and dear to me and mine. First, let me introduce myself to those of you who don't know me. My name is Chuck Rose, and I'm the author of Personally Improving Mental Performance, as well as Access to Success. And I'll be your partner on our journey to becoming our own life coaches and navigating our path to enlightenment and an increased quality of life. Again, I'll be your partner on our journey to becoming our own life coaches and navigating our path to enlightenment and an increased quality of life by our own definition. Now, don't get it twisted. We won't just be talking about self-help and motivational speaking things. I know some people think about, oh, Lord, here we go. Chuck has a book called Access to Success and Personally Improving Mental Performance. We have enough of those. No. Like I said, don't get it twisted. We will be talking about aspects of that, but we're going to be partnering with each other to become our own life coaches. And we'll cover all of the other endowments. We'll cover disciplines like sports, finance, fitness, philosophy, self-help, and much, much more. And mainly what we want to cover is the topics of your choice. Please send those topics in to fillyourownvoid@gmail.com because we want to make sure that we're calibrated across all endowments: parental, marital, financial, physical, emotional. We need to be calibrating at 100 across all of these things because we talked about he who knows himself is enlightened and he who knows others is clever. We started off our podcast with the baseline question: are you getting what you want out of life? Are you currently living the quality of life you desire, deserve, and dream about? If not, our discussions will help you fix that. And if you are, we invited you to send those best practices and facts from the field in to fillyourownvoid@gmail.com because we want to be able to flow through life with that same calm, cheerful assurance that you are. We even reviewed life coaches. You know, I know these folks, highly paid. They're coming to these companies. They're speaking from the front of the room. They're getting paid a lot of money just to tell you, try that, do this. They don't need anything outside of them to fill their own void. They don't need anybody outside of them to motivate them or be their life coach. They're their own. And that's what we're going to do here. You can follow us on all the social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram. Watch the YouTube channel. You can find us just by searching Fill Your Own Void or just search Chuck Rose. And you'll see the live tapings on the YouTube channel. The podcast is currently housed on the podcast library, Spreaker.com. Again, that's Spreaker.com, Spreaker.com. Please visit the library. You can hear the previous episodes where we've already covered some great factors. One, breaking the generational curse. Tomorrow is a new day. Yesterday really did end last night. The game of life has no gender or ethnicity. You are already your CEO. You better watch your bottom line. And one of those disciplines that we covered outside of the contents of the book and the curriculum was sports, the discipline of sports. Last week, we had the pleasure of having Heisman Trophy winning number 33, Wisconsin's running back, Ron the Great Dayne, joining us. And he will be joining us again on episodes to come, along with some other great sports icons across the other basketball, football, baseball, you name it. We're going to cover them all. Today, we have an awesome topic here, and we're going to talk about the power of thought and thinking. Everybody's talking about mindfulness nowadays, right? I was back practicing this stuff, not to the degree that my subject matter expert is or has been, but I had a desire to come around a calmness in my life. So, and what is people doing to be successful? And I think I'm getting really close, and a lot of it deals with thinking. So today we have our subject matter expert guest is Yogi, Carmen, Dayne, and I covered this factor, the power of thought and thinking, in my book, Access to Success, in chapter 2, where this is very interesting to me with my research. One of the things that I found very, very alarming is that really when it comes to thinking, 90% of the human race does not think. And I know there's an argument like, whoa, Chuck, you crazy, man. I got to think about what I'm putting on today. Think about what I'm eating. No. I'm talking about a creative, concentrated, focused thought. See, a lot of people get it twisted. And they think reacting to stimuli is thinking. No. See, showering doesn't require any thought. Eating, dressing, and really performing your major job duties doesn't really. So we're going to get into that, and we're going to talk to you about the creative thought and thinking and how you can channel that to really into your favor. So I'm going to introduce my guest. Don't want to belabor it. Carmen is a 200-hour registered yoga teacher. She's based out of D.C. Originally, she was from Richmond, Virginia, where I reside right now. She graduated from Howard University and majored in finance. She started practicing, I didn't know this, back in 14. I know Carmen well, and I didn't know that she was practicing back then. But in 15, she fell in love and really dedicated her journey to the practice. She fell in love with it. She uses it, to my understanding, and she'll talk a little bit about that more, to allow her to connect to God and, really just be calm. Her goal is to introduce this practice of yoga to more minorities. Really, really, we need to be enjoying, like, with all of the things we're going to cover on this podcast. That's what we're trying to do. Really introduce this stuff to our folks, minorities, people in marginalized communities, so they have the opportunity as well to create a mind, body, and soul connection through yoga by calming their nervous system and just finding that stillness that we all want, that still small voice, and just finding bliss. So with that being said, the majority of her yoga classes are online at Blissful Healing Yoga. She created the platform, and it provides classes, meditation sessions, breath work and breathing, more in-depth knowledge of the practice of yoga. Her organization, it really heavily focuses on love, inner peace, connecting to joy, finding your bliss. And there's classes geared for all experience levels. She'll talk to you about. I will be enrolling, because I didn't know that she was going on so much. But I will be a new student of hers, and to allow yourself to just find the strength and balance that you need. So with that being said, welcome, Miss Carmen. How are you?
Hey, Chuck. I'm fine. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you so much for joining us. And wow, and doing my homework for the show today. And I know a lot about you anyway, and we'll get into that in discussions later. But this is crazy. Talk to me about Blissful Healing Yoga.
Sure. Blissful Healing Yoga is an online platform that I have created to put forth yoga classes. Gotcha. With that, I'm introducing yoga, like you said earlier, to different minority communities, marginalized communities. And a lot of times with yoga classes, people want a yoga teacher that looks like them.
Absolutely.
So a lot of the times when, let's say, African American people or Black people look at yoga in the West, they don't think of other Black people. Mm-hmm. So I created the platform so that more Black people can get into the practice, and we can also reap the benefits of the practice.
Awesome. Okay. So, folks, Blissful Healing Yoga. Again, I am looking at, the classes. You can download the app. You got to join this tribe. Again, I will. So what sparked your interest? I'll be taking some copious notes, little cuz.
Okay, good. So I used to live in Atlanta. After I graduated from Howard, I moved to Atlanta for a job. And as life got more stressful, I would try to find outlets. So I started working out, and that worked for a while. And then I would get Groupons for different yoga classes around the city. And so I would do it for a little while, and then I would stop. And then when I would get stressed out again, my mom would say, well, have you thought about going to a yoga class? And I would be like, no, why are you saying that? Because initially I started because I was like, I need more flexibility in my body. Mm-hmm. So she could see that yoga classes made me a lot more calm after I attended, but I couldn't see it yet. And so eventually I was like, okay, I'm working out so much, I need something to balance the cardio strength training part. And so I looked around the city for a Black-owned yoga studio, and I found one. She had a Groupon going on, and so I got the Groupon, and I was like, if I like it, I'm going to become a member. Mm-hmm. And so I loved it. I became a member. It was very challenging. I think a lot of times when people think about yoga, they think like of slow restorative classes, but yoga can be as easy or difficult as you want it to be. There's so many different types of yoga.
Oh my God.
So I started off like doing 2 to 3 classes a week, And eventually I was at 6 classes a
Ooh.
week. And so I was like, I loved it so much. I was still working out,
Right.
but I could see the more that I did it, how it impacted my mood and it impacted me mentally in a positive way.
Wow.
So
Wow.
eventually, once I moved up here, I knew that I was going to take a yoga teacher training, which I did. And so I got certified. And while I was in my yoga teacher training, I was thinking of ways that I could bring my practice and share my practice with others in the world. And that's how I created Blissful Yoga.
Well, applause for that, and it's much needed. Like I said, I never. No, did your mom? Does she, or what was her awareness to? Did she practice, or she just said, "Try this, daughter"?
She just said try it because she could see that it had like a positive impact on me.
Okay.
I've tried to get her to practice a little bit. That's still,
Right.
uphill battle.
I feel you. So, wow. So you kind of touched on some of the questions that I had, because I was going to ask, how often do you practice? Like, and what's the norm? Was there a norm with practicing yoga? So I guess there is.
There isn't. So it just depends. And it depends on how in-depth, like the benefits that you want to reap from yoga.
Right.
But when people say yoga, it doesn't have to be the asanas. You can sit and meditate, and that is still a part of the yoga practice. So normally, the idea is that you meditate daily. And so that way you have a time during the day to like slow your mind down and clear your thoughts a little bit. And I practice 5 to 6 times a week.
Wow.
They say that you should at least have one rest day though during the week.
Okay, excellent. Because that was going to be one of my questions. Wow, you're ahead of me. See, this yoga thing got you like a savant. You're like, oh yeah, I know what you're thinking, Chuck. But so I was going to say, essentially, then a lot of people they do get it twisted. Meditation versus yoga. So you're saying meditation is a part of yoga. That's correct, right?
Yes, meditation is a part of yoga, but I think what people normally think of as yoga are the asanas, which are the yoga poses that you see.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to get into. There you go again ahead of me. But so no, absolutely, yeah, because they were saying in my research here that meditation is preferred post yoga.
It depends.
Okay.
So it kind of depends on how your brain works.
Gotcha.
Some people, before they get on the mat, their brain is like super busy.
Mm-hmm.
And some people, after they finish their yoga practice, they have a little bit more calm.
Gotcha.
So, for example, some people say practice first thing in the morning, practice meditation first thing in the morning. But some people wake up ready to go.
Right.
And some people wake up and they're a little bit slower and they ease into their day. So it just depends on the person.
Gotcha. Okay. And just like anything, repetition. The more reps, the more you want to do it, right? So, is yoga? You talked about the West. So, are there different types? Are there different degrees? Like martial arts, you got first degree, second degree. Are there different? I've actually probably maybe like, whoa, Chuck, I didn't know that. But again, I was interested in. I've been reading about it, trying it, toying with it. But after this, I'm sure I'm going to really dive in more. I'm currently reading the autobiography of the Yogi, which is Paramahansa Yogananda, and I also listen to the mystic Sadhguru. Are there degrees and levels?
So yes, it depends on the lineage that you follow, the different levels and the degrees. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of different lineages. I received my 200-hour yoga teacher training in Hatha yoga, and I prefer Vinyasa flow yoga.
Gotcha.
And so that's where you still do the Vinyasa flow, but it's kind of like you're flowing on the mat as opposed to holding a pose for like 1 minute or 30 seconds.
Gotcha.
Depending on the class. And in Vinyasa flow, you are moving with the breath, which I like because it's easier for me to release in a flow class.
Gotcha.
But there are a number of different lineages.
Okay.
And so each of those lineages have kind of like different belief systems. So I would say you can practice different types to see which kind you like.
Okay.
On my platform, I have like yin yoga classes,